So welcome everyone to this GBO success story. I'm glad to be joined today by Kai, Isemann and Linus Gabrielsson from GBO Zurich, and they are going to share with us a story behind Three Bottom Line, which is a company that was born within GBO. So Kai, Linus, all yours, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Miguel. Kai, do you want to go ahead? We cannot hear you if you're speaking.
Can you hear me?
Now I can. Yeah, now we can.
All right, very good. And can you see the screen also?
Yeah, but not the presentation anymore. Just need to get back on the PDF. Yeah. Now we see.
Yeah. All right. Sorry for that. Thanks for the floor. You mentioned it correctly. Actually, Linus and I got acquainted pretty much a year ago on a GBO dinner. And short background introduction from my side. I'm a project developer for everything that has to do with impactful businesses. So any idea I can grab, I wish to involve into my network and try to. Now since 2012, I'm running my business now here from Zurich. And one of the biggest challenges in all this is getting good ideas not brought down, disturbed, punished by greed, period. That's what it is. So I was trying to find a solution to lift up basically all these individual tiny ideas and projects, and to lift them up into a kind of portfolio structure so that we have a legal framework around, so to have more energy and more meat to the bone when we start pitching to larger investors. So I had a lot of ideas in mind. I had a lot of potential solutions. I had quite some nice network in the background, which would love to support. But I was missing an organization or a leader, a project manager that can run this really from A to Z in the project development phase. So I got acquainted with Linus, and funny enough, Linus is very much into and was in the past already into crowdfunding mechanisms. And we were exchanging on the ideas, and from there it launched pretty fast. So over the last 9-10 months now, we have been developing what we see now as www.triplebottomline.com. So I will go a little more into detail what that actually is, and what we try to achieve over the coming months. We wish to give you an insight into that basically pre-launch. On Friday, coming Friday, there's the first Swiss social economy forum happening in Basel and virtually. It's a hybrid event. So it's the opposite a little bit of the WEF we have in Switzerland. So it's around all the social economy, impact investment, impactful businesses, which will be discussed there. The foundation I'm heading is organizing there a very interesting discussion around how these businesses, impactful businesses, can be financed in future. We will not launch Triple Bottom Line right there. We keep the floor open to a lot of new ideas. However, very soon after, we will decide up on the development of the forum, when exactly and with which specific channel we will do that. So triple bottom line, and please just jump in if you have questions. If I start talking, I talk. Okay. So please just interrupt in between if you wish to. Triple bottom line. We call it pretty much the most at the moment sophisticated B2B investment platform we can have for three things: the environmentally, socially, and financially beneficial ideas, project developments, undertakings. That's why also triple bottom line. The term itself was created, it's said, by John Elkington in 1994 already. So there have been a lot of smart people thinking about the challenge already a long time ago. However, the financial market, as we know, did not quite find or prepare proper solutions for that. So in the financial world, we can invest billions over billions in a lot of opportunities and make a lot of money on that. Not much of it actually can be called really impactful, with the exception of the own wallet, probably. With a proper due diligence, and this is what was always missing to my mind, it's possible to assign or to locate opportunities which really tick off all these three columns: environmentally, social, and financially sustainable. It's a hard work. You cannot do just everything, yes, but it works. So that was basically the mandate, to create a framework, a platform, and the legal framework around this. So why now exactly? I mentioned it before. It's a very personal trigger for this on one hand, because I have to explain this. Out of 14 major business partners I had in the last 9 years now, almost 10, 9 failed, 9 cheated on me. And the greed was just eventually written on the forehead. I don't want to see this anymore, period. I want to have trustworthy partners in my business, because that's also what I give into the business myself. And in addition, apparently the world around me develops into a very, very similar direction. We see it right here over the last 10, 15 years. We are always talking about we need to make everything green and sustainable, and we came up with the ESG programs and framework. The UN came up a couple of years ago with the SDG targets, the 17 major targets we have to, well, target into a proper future, a sustainable future. So now, if we look into the figures, and I'm a figure person, this is my background. I did a lot of M&A transactions in the financial industry before I started my own business. The UN-backed PRI, which is a global initiative with more than 1,600 organizations, companies behind, representing 70 trillion in assets under management. That's a huge number. Now, they all target for impact. They signed up for this. So far, this was beginning of this year, we have between 1.2 and 1.4 trillion dollars only invested impactfully. And this includes all the greenwashing, bullshit we see. So there is a huge impact investment gap, let's call it that way probably, which somebody needs to look after. The shift from all these assets into an impactful future. So there is the huge request for sustainable investments. Now, unless somebody is really a risk taker and a venture capitalist, which we are taking aside here, because probably in itself of the term, most of them might not be very impactful in a long term. if you're not one of these, then the targets or the desires of these investors is first that they make a placement that generate a positive financial return. We all know that, we all want that, fine. Most of them have a very, very strict structure and framework where they can invest into. There's a lot of risk management going on behind. We need to consider this, and we have to well organize it in that way that these people are happy that they can sign off on this. They want to invest money in assets that have a low risk of default. Apparently, you don't want to get, unlike venture capitalists, they know 1 out of 10 might run, 9 might fail. This is not a B2B investor we are looking for. If you're talking to pension funds or private investors, they want to safeguard their funds. They want to have this for the next generation also safe. Then the third one is placing large sums at once. The risk management procedures in these organizations are all the same, whether it's a 1 million investment or 100 million investment. There might be another referral step, but that's about it. The controls are the same. So if you can provide a framework which they once do a due diligence on and sign up on it, then all the undertakings underneath run up into this also. And once we have a B2B partner on board, this will be a long-term relationship also. And eventually buy securities that are traded on liquid markets. Apparently, right now, sustainable investments are not very liquid. However, with an organized platform, with a lot of different segments and partners to cover, we can create it, and it will not take too long, I guess. We are talking about the SDGs mainly. Now, here's an interesting development that came up just last week, which I wish to share with you. The Handelszeitung in Switzerland published an article about the Basel-Landschaftliche Kantonalbank, so one regional bank here in Switzerland, which I'm very strict, even I would consider one of the most impactful banks we can see here in Switzerland. They even support tiny houses and permaculture projects and stuff. Now, they are very regional located. They are not allowed to do business outside of the canton. And they started a business now and put a 50 million Swiss francs aside for this, just to cover projects and in turn, the bridge basically to the rich private investors in Switzerland. They themselves for the business, for creating the business, and they don't have nothing. They have the name and a logo and the idea to cover SDGs. We have the entire framework, we have the system, we have the legal background, and we can just push the button and get running. So this is, I think, the right time, as we see, to cover such a gap. So the SDGs are very, very crucial, very crucial in our undertakings. This is a framework where everybody on the globe basically can refer to, and on a very high level, they are also not too silly, actually. So the challenge, I was talking about it. We have a lot of investors. We have a lot of, well, more and more actually. The liquidity in the market is immense. It's huge, and they are all looking to invest it into somewhere. The interest rates are down, so we see pension funds, serious pension funds, where they are not allowed to take any risks, throwing their assets into really garbage. We see that 20 years down the road being belly up. Now, they don't find the right projects. Many of them actually won't. We get requests, and I've got the contact from my past into this finance structure. They're all desperately looking for projects, but they cannot assess them. They cannot really properly tell whether this might work or not, and where the balance is between financial and socially, ecologically useful or sustainable even. So there's a gap. This is exactly the gap. And there's a lot of projects in the market. There's a lot of good ideas, a lot of smart people around. They don't get the access to the big funds. They don't talk to each other. Now, this is what Triple Bottom Line will be doing. They let them talk. So we will have a standardized execution process in place. We will search, we have a team behind, we will search and evaluate and triage the projects and the partners. So we will do an assessment on both sides because it's important that they talk the same language. We have a sophisticated due diligence framework. A close friend of mine, he's a psychologist at the University of Basel. And we did already a couple of projects together. And I gave him the mandate to, well, be creative, gather all the information about all the different frameworks we can find on this globe and to get the best out of it. That was pretty much the mandate. And this is what we have now. We are able to manage all these transactions from A to Z. This is all within this framework. And the people behind, because very often in the beginning, at the very least, there's still a lot of manual work because you cannot expect any pension fund manager just to log in on your homepage and sign up on a 50 million or something. You need to do still a lot of talking. But the framework is there and the process is there and it's controlled and secured. We have a huge, broad network regionally, nationally, in Switzerland and internationally. Apparently, as we are a member of GBO, and not only that, there's a lot of impact hubs all over the world, and not just the term impact hub, but also very, very similar organizations. It's just very often the missing acceleration of it. That's pretty much it, and this is what we wish to cover. We will have a mentoring and peer review process in place. This is very important. It's not about that one project manager with a good idea gets financed and then off he is and never seen again. These are the people that we trust, apparently, otherwise we wouldn't give them our money. These are the people which I want to involve in the next project and help the others to succeed. It's not me, it's not Linus, it's not Ollie or all within the team. Yes, as catalysator, as enabler, yes, but this should work within. So peer review and mentoring is very, very crucial. And some organizations might not have anything to invest in or a project to throw into our bucket. However, wish to learn from the questions we ask and the lessons we learn. And we have already two assignments request before we launch, which is very nice. This might work very well for the financial industry, I guess, banks, insurances, reinsurance companies. So we will be offering that in addition. So now, what is a good project? I'm talking a lot about impactful business, but let's ask what that is. In our opinion, it's a project which really needs to be evaluated carefully. And everybody really can say it's good for our children, it's good for the biosphere, and it's good for each other, the directly involved and those directly affected. Now, if we paint this picture in front of our virtual forehead, this includes everyone, okay? Our cousins in the tree of life, period. I cannot start a business and harm by that. I read an article this morning. In Switzerland, every person in this very paradise-ish community we are living in, everyone has 80 slaves on this globe working for him or her. This is a shock, and we need to get away from that. So that's why my business in German term, it's called enkeltauglich wirtschaften, which means every business needs to be grandchild-proof. I don't need to look after my term. If a business is good for my kids and my grandchildren, only then it's good. So what we do in detail, it's pretty easy to find project developers that say, "Oh, we are green, we are all impactful, and we do it all right." Now, and this is what our job is. We need to assess these. We need to find out and ask a lot of questions in order to make sure that they are really impactful. So we call for proposals on grant challenges and on ideas which come out of our existing network and now apparently fast increasing network. So we will bring these organizations together and try again, like with Triple Bottom Line itself, try to get the best out of it, make a nut, and basically push it forward. They will have to go through a self-assessment. The project team has to go through a self-assessment according to a specific parameters and questions we are asking. We do our own due diligence, apparently, and we sign off on that on all the 3 columns. And only if an undertaking is socially, environmentally, and financially sensible, impactful, only then we will go for finding the financing people for them. Otherwise, it's We Make It or other platforms or usual bank or whatever, but not us. So we take this very, very, very serious. Only like this we can gain the trust in the market, I guess. There will be a peer review, as I mentioned. So between these projects, there will be a lot of interaction. There will be an ongoing mentoring from basically the Triple Bottom Line core team. We will refer a lot to industry-specific standards and certifications. Yes, some are very useful. As standalone, there's something missing. But some are very useful. We will make use of them. We don't have to recreate everything by ourselves and add just our cream on top, if you wish. Then, as I mentioned, the network, very, very, very important. If we have a couple of organizations gaining for the same target, we need to get these together because 1 + 1 is not 2 then, but 5 or 10, very, very often already. We have already, and we will continue working on the best practice guides, basically. We will organize workshops, seminar sessions. We will see how that develops. For the moment, we have individual projects in the pipeline, which we mentor very intensively. And from there, basically, it starts and continues on these different segments. Then the experts, the internal experts which we have, we provide an assessment, we provide reports. This can be used in all their impact reporting, whatever it is. It depends on the businesses. Some must report, so we will help them defining or preparing actually their annual reports on this topic. And for some, they will just refer to our assessment, basically. So what we do, we check projects for quality in environmental, socially, and economically sustainable outcome. Triple Bottom Line is a platform, yes, a virtual platform, and a methodology. It's a framework. It's an evaluation and investment preparation process and execution. I missed this here, actually. So it's really, you hit the button eventually on the platform and you are invested. So we cover from A to Z. I don't want to go, I can go much more into detail what the different or various steps are we go through. But let me go first here because I might be cut off apparently at some point. The slides I will provide to you later, or I will provide through Ned and Miguel to you if you wish, so you can read through these in detail by yourself also. That's the team. So it all started, as I mentioned, with Linus and myself. And the rest came along pretty quickly. So there's Oliver Fink, a good friend of mine. We grew up together. He's at the University of Basel and Bern, a psychologist, and he has the due diligence lead. He was going through all the assessments that we can see and was carving out the best of it. He's basically the builder of the framework. Linus, you know, myself, you know, Alona has the marketing lead. So all what we will see on the outside, on LinkedIn and Facebook and so on, going forward, once we launch, this goes over her desk. And in the background, until now, she was in the project team, setting up the entire platform so that all the colors and boxes and everything is right and works, and reaches my ambitious aesthetic requirements sometimes. Christian, he's a business partner of Linus, and very well connected, very knowledgeable in big financing, large financing, B2B financing. So he took on the finance lead in this organization. Currently he lives in Osnabrück. He used to live in Zurich. He might come back. We shall see. Alexandra, external, she's a partner of Habibi and Strange lawyers company, and she's in the project team supporting us on all the legal aspects and regulations and so on. And she will continue also to support us because each and every project might require different contract terms, at least on the very large ones. So we will need her support going forward also. Jasper Zimmermann, he's a journalist and a scientist, lives outside Berlin. He works for the foundation I'm working for also with Ollie. And he's a strategic mastermind in my view. When I'm down, I call Jay, he gets me up again. And I've been down a lot of times in the last 10 months, believe me. So he's very smart on the strategic way where triple bottom line needs to go, and he always brings us back basically on the right track. So that's the team where we are right now. Very, very far. So it started in summer last year, as I mentioned. It formed as an idea when Linus and I were talking over the table. It was a great dinner. Thanks, Ned. Unfortunately, since then, not much. I have not been much involved. I was digging through all these business plans and everything. I hope this comes back soon again. So we went through 3 financing rounds basically, depending on the development, because we didn't know how far we get. We really didn't know. It was 2 crazy guys sitting together, looking into the sky and finding ways to make the world a little better. So it worked. Apparently. So we started in late summer with the establishment of the due diligence framework, which was crucial, which was the key. Then in winter time, the regulatory process started. Alexandra came on board, or much more involved, let's turn it that way. The brand was very important for me. I had this triple bottom line in my mind for quite a while already. And lucky enough, we have been able to secure all these domains and everything and the branding. Although the term was created in 1994, we can use it. And .com is ours. So, and all the related also. So this was also not so easy to get juggled around. Then the testing of the framework. Does this all make sense eventually? And then the final financing round. So we go. Definition of strategic partnerships. We are still in there and we will continue being in this process, I guess. The testing was done. I think the last bugs pretty much are out now. So we will have a final testing round. The implementation of the design went through. There are a couple of images which I want to get exchanged. And then that's pretty much it. We are ready to go. When we will launch in the round of May, let's put it that way. I want to wait until the forum, the sustainability forum, takes place on Friday, because we will meet a lot of important people, which I want to introduce to Triple Bottom Line bilaterally first. And then I think by end of next week, I know pretty much, or we know pretty much when we can kick this off. Lucky you get an introduction beforehand. So how are we financed? All this, I mean, it's a fintech eventually. So fintechs usually, they don't cost a hell of money. It's not like a real estate development or so. But the risk that it fails is also bigger than with a real estate business. So what we see as Triple Bottom Line, I have financed through my network, through the foundation, through the business, through supporters, and we are about 350,000 what it costs. That was it. What Triple Bottom Line basically is as an asset, if you wish. Now, as we don't go, this is very important in my world, in Triple Bottom Line's world, as we don't go for dividend. We said from the very beginning, this was very important from the very beginning, it's not about getting rich here for anybody. We all want to get our bread and butter on the table. Yes, we want to have an awesome business running and have a lot of fun with this. So we get our hours paid, we get our salaries out of this once it's running. However, no dividends. All dividends or all remains, which might be, will remain in the structure of Triple Bottom Lines. So refinance basically ideas and projects which might not take it from the first day. Probably there are a lot of these where the world around does not see it yet. And I think out of the framework and the network we have, there might be some of these which are supportable and which we wish to do out of the surplus, basically. Now, due to the fact that we don't take fortunes out of a business which might create quite a volume over time, we can keep the fees for the involved parties actually lower than most of the other platforms which I know, which is a second benefit. So we are cheaper and better. Yeah, what shall I say? Exactly. It's all about the long-term relationship on this. I don't think that we will see a lot of projects which are one-off and then they are gone. I don't think so. Now it's getting serious. Our due diligence. It's actually very easy, and I want to just give you one of these as an example. My tongue is getting dry otherwise. That's the first set of questions which we ask. It's actually, if you look at this, pretty simple. However, the time all he had to spend to get to these couple of questions in this framework and to make an assessment eventually out of this was a longer story then. So if we go for the dimension environmentally sustainable undertakings, the themes underneath these would be pollutant and waste management, energy concept, land use concept. When it's about construction, the type of construction, there's a difference between concrete and wood and so on. And the enhancement of local assets which already exist. So an overall question, are there any specific environmental standards or variables mentioned? So if we receive a business plan and we don't want to squeeze the project managers or project teams too much into a framework where they can hand in only 2 megabytes here and only 2 pictures here and only text 500 words. You know what? Do what you think is the best for you. I don't want to read 80 pages. Make it short. Yes. Come over with a message and answer these questions in best case. So here's the reference to industry standards, for example. There are a lot on environmentally business or environmentally sustainable business. There's a lot around. Some are very good. If they are mentioned, cool, we sign off. Not only these, we need a lot more. Then we go more into details. So waste, what is the concept for pollution, hazardous waste management in the event it's generated at all? Now, is it convincing or not? It's a yes or no. And it tells you a lot already. When it comes to energy, what is the concept for electricity and water consumption? It depends a lot on the project. There might be wind energy very, very useful for a specific project, but one example I had on the table, I was shocked. And they did it. It was financed by a German pension fund. A windmill park, a wind energy park outside of Tromsø in a bay where they had the entire year the whales around and hundreds of eagles were placed there. They're all gone, the whales and the eagles. And everybody was warning from the ecological part, everybody was warning, nobody listened. They get a 14-point-something% per annum return, yes, but destroyed the entire archipelago there. So wind energy is good in some areas, in some not. So we look into this. Fuel consumption. You can run your business in several different ways. If you consider some good ones, then you're on top. And if not, then you might get the hint eventually in the assessment report. Please do so and come back. You know what? Then you are good. So it's not that we eventually kick them out and say, you are bad guys, we don't want to talk to you. It's more, again, just mentoring, coaching to get them into this, to teach them, help them, enable them. So this is the first glance, basically, of the framework itself. It covers, when we go further into the social area or social dimension, if you go through these 3 times 6, 18 questions, you have a very, very good overview of any business, whether it's sustainable or not. Full stop. That's what it is. We don't have a kind of copyright on that. This is open source. But we think as we provide also the entire framework and investment process with it, we don't give away too much because they will come to us anyway, I believe.
Kai, may I ask you something?
Yes, please.
These questions here, or this assessment, is this a self-assessment or is this your conclusion? And for each part you're going in and have a look and get documents, do an audit on that?
Both. It's part of the self-assessment, yes. So it's basically the guideline so that the project team knows what to expect. It doesn't make sense that they send their presentation and don't know what we are actually looking for. So we tell them beforehand about these questions, yes, definitely. And it's not just this question. We will go then really into detail and analyze the underlying, well, the insight of what the question is answered. So if they say yes, and we see a slide where it's written yes, this is not enough. So we need to go deep digging in this. especially if you have challenges or questions on it. Some are very, very obvious. If they can provide a, I don't know, let me tell you, permaculture certificate for, I don't know, proper farming. Well, this is good. I know all the providers of this organization. So if they are signed off, this is a 2-second tick mark, and then good. And some others, you really need to go on site and check what they are doing. So yeah, but to your question, both is needed and done.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, the same on the, apparently also on the financial aspects. Now, financially impactful or sustainable can mean a lot. I said in the beginning, it's also sustainable if my wallet grows unlimited. Okay, that's very sustainable for my wallet. For the environment community, it might not be, even not for an individual investor, as we see now with Credit Suisse and Co. right now going belly out straight. So it's about, I'm a close friend of Binnenwirtschaft. What is it in the English term? Help me, somebody. Regional business. Basically, what GBO does, you have all these SME businesses, locally organized, locally networking. However, on a broad and global net, being interfaced towards each other, among each other. And this is very important, or a very important basis also for triple bottom line. So also on the financial aspect, it does not make much of sense to my mind. If there's no other solution, we might talk about it. But why should I don't know, Singapore, Hong Kong, or London person invest right now here in the Machatal in a rustico village, which I'm building up with permaculture sourcing? In best case, it's the local people that invest here. So this is also something that needs to be considered to my mind. If I have an offer from an investor from New York, providing a better return than one from here in Machatal, we might want to talk, and probably rather take the one from Machatal because it makes more sense long term. So the financial assessment is a usual financial due diligence as we do it, as we know it. We go through balance sheets and plans and so on. I did hundreds of these in my life. However, there are a couple more questions we need to ask. Yeah. So eventually there will be a conclusion, a summary, a narrative on all the answers or all the findings. There will be a rating. This is pretty straightforward. We have 18 questions. We have 18 points to give. And there will be if there's a fail, meaning, there are some gaps still, not yet there. This does not mean at all a no. This means go back, do some homework. We give you the guidance, what to do or whom to involve probably, and then come back, pitch again. And we are the first one that want to have it then on the platform. So it's not, we don't want to kick out these projects. We want to have them properly maintained. So our network, very, very, very important. You know this better, or as well as I do. Without network, we are individually nothing. We cannot do anything. And we have to rely on, with triple bottom line, we have to rely on a very, very trustworthy network, on very reliable connections. I said this also, 9 out of 14 business partners in Switzerland cheating. That's a very bad rate. I don't want to see this anymore. You never know whom you meet, and any due diligence can have a gap or a mistake, always. However, I believe the network which we were talking to on triple bottom line Some we kicked out from the beginning because they will not fit in here. They really will not. And we have to be very clear on that. And some, yeah, I think this can really, really work very well. A selection of them, I have put here the Basel Peace Forum. I've been involved there the last 4 years. It's an awesome network from the University of Basel and Bern. And they take their things very, very serious. 2 years ago, I met, there was a team, I think, from who created these SDGs, actually, for the UN. And Trent, I think you're all on the call also. You have been on the Basel Peace Forum also several times. So very good network there. CEO for Climate, this is close to 600 CEOs in Switzerland. The most famous, my former boss, Christian Mumenthaler of Swiss Re, consolidated together in, well, political statements and, well, for the financial industry statements that we care. Now, a lot there is not there where it should be yet. We all agree. However, the network is very important, and at least you've got people there which listen to you. And they could be enablers in their organizations. That's why I'm also part of CEO for Climate in Switzerland. Conda is one of our major partners because they are basically the tech providers for Triple Bottom Line. So a company home in Vienna, Austria, and in the capital market and crowdfunding market, sorry, since more than 10 years already, very well connected and technically top. They really do a great job. So our core partners, we've got a couple of ETH people in our network, very different areas and segments and topics, which is good. Gioca Permacultura right here in Tessin right now. We've got a couple projects coming up. One major one, which will be also soon on Triple Bottom Line. And they are major partners there. So I'm a big fan of permaculture. If you don't know it, read about it. Really, it changes your life. And I'm not esoteric or something. It's about basis. Global business owners, you know them. Green Bus, Impact Hub, and so on. These are a lot of organizations which, with network within, which wanna promote the impactful business a lot. However, they don't have a tool, they don't have a product. It's a good platform, good people, but no product, or not as much as I would wish it. So being involved in these circles will help us to push Triple Bottom Line into the right direction. I do not want to miss Herold Mion. You might want to Google them actually. Two very smart guys out of the financial industry. They are actually asset consultants. They don't manage. They go and assess you as a person. They ask you as a person questions and go to the bottom of your soul and heart and find out what is important to you. Really important. And according to that, they make suggestions for investments. Now, what we have with Triple Bottom Line, we hit every emotion anyway. You will see it once you see the projects coming in over time. And these are the perfect partners for us because the people they have, and this is the high wealth individual network, the people they consult, they are the ones that invest in Triple Bottom Line. Several impact hubs, Germany, Switzerland, Lemonway as a payment provider, very important for the crowd part. Montessori Foundation, Ökozentrum Langenbruck, they are over 40 years in the business, well, like a university accelerator or a university brainstorming think tank idea, however, privately financed, all through donations. And it's really crazy how much they struggle in finding funds. Because actually the partners are there. We found them already by talking to them. They are there. They just don't have the right tool, the right contracts behind. So with Triple Bottom Line, we will be able to get them a 5 million financing, and they can overshoot what they did in the last 40 years already. Pro Natura is a huge organization which we have a lot of contacts to. Sans Suisse, Sense, is an organization, the umbrella organization for all associations, cooperative structures in Switzerland. They are also the organizers of the Swiss Social Economy Forum next Friday. Each and everybody in there, you just fall in love with these people. It's amazing. Everybody brings in their heart and soul in for the sake of this organization or the vision of the organization. I haven't seen something like this before. And I'm very, very happy to have them also on board. The Swiss Excellence Forum with Werner von Almen, very sophisticated. They go into a very close direction like we do with coaching, mentoring, assessing, but they don't have the financial investment tool. This is what we have. So we will hopefully also come into a kind of GV structure eventually. The Swiss Social Economy Forum next Friday, the first time, and we are right in there. I love it. Universities, a couple, Lausanne, Basel, Bern, St. Gallen, yeah. And a huge broad network, business, education, innovation, philanthropy. So the right people, the people which we need to get this running. Now, this is basically the 3 contact persons you have if you wish to address any question or project, or wish to invest your millions in, I don't know what, just shoot to Linus, myself, or Christian directly. Yeah. Now, that's from my side for the moment. Any questions? Any feedback?
Can I ask you a question, Kai? You know, I come from the life science business, which of course is, you know, a specialty, and I have been fundraising for the last 25 years or so, and I agree with you that in principle the system is broken to a certain degree, and decisions are made that are not always driven by any other motivation than greed. Having said that, I would like to understand a little more about the financial structure. You said that you are trying to match the people who have the money and the people who have the ideas. But how is this going to work? I mean, your statement that making money has not a priority, and whatever revenues you gain will stay in the organization is wonderful. But is that based on an equity model? Are there shares or owners? How is the ownership structured?
The ownership of the individual projects or Triple Bottom Line?
For both. I mean, what is the overall financial structure? Are the people with the money the classical LPs, and you are the VCs who allow for the investment, or are you just the matchmaker? What is the structure?
The latter, basically. We are an intermediary. We are a finance intermediary. That's basically our job. We do not hold any funds ourselves.
Okay.
Triple Bottom Line does not manage assets. No. On the individual projects, they are the issuer of whatever the underlying structure is. This can be debt, this can be asset, this can be bonds. And we match these, we bring these together and prepare the legal framework for whatever the desire is in this specific project.
Okay.
Yeah, this is something I think I didn't get it right as well. So I understand you do a due diligence and evaluation of projects. So it's all startups, correct?
Not
Startups, new
necessarily.
project, or newborn companies or whatever.
Not necessarily. As I said, like Ökozentrum Langbruck, they are since 41 years now in the market. They have their track record. We will be just the new way of getting them financed.
Okay, so you give them a kind of a stamp saying, listen, out 8 from 10, your SDG, ESG, whatever trustworthy impact project, which we think you could finance, correct?
Right.
Okay, and
more
then
or less.
you say
we don't refer only on the SDGs, but we have our own framework underneath. Yes.
okay, and then you have need of finance of 100,000, 1 million, 10 million, 100 million. This is what the project manager is calling in, and what you do is you offer your platform as, okay, are there investors who want to invest there, correct?
Exactly.
And it's not crowdfunding, not in small unit, it's in bigger unit, or how do I have to understand that?
Yep. So we have both. We have with triplebottomline.com, we've got the B2B platform. So this is big tickets in excess of 100,000. The smallest is 100,000 we do there. And there is a very specific onboarding process for institutional investors that's different from the crowd. So that's why we keep this separate. And we have triplebottomline.org, which will be then really a crowdfunding platform. We see there partially the same projects with a smaller, so there's one layer basically in the overall project coming from the crowd and the rest through the institutionals. So we might see solutions like this. And then we have for the crowd possibility from 100 francs equivalent to invest.
Okay, interesting.
So the
project,
the positive for the crowd is they can gain from all the framework and underlying experience. Even it's actually done for the professional investors. However, the crowd can gain from that also and go directly into these.
How will you get the projects on board? You're just, they have to apply. You choose them. How can you make sure that they will come to you and get access from you?
Both. We will target organizations which we believe they have a good underlying project portfolio, and offer them to switch, especially to triple bottom line. Very often they don't even know. Ökozentrum Langbruck is an organization where on the board, I think the youngest is like 65 or something. They threw money in, their personal money into this pot 41 years ago. And since then they are financed or asked in between a brother or cousin for funding. This is how it works. Now, when we are talking to them and explaining them what is possible actually with their background, their expertise, their assets they have already, they turn pale. They didn't know. They didn't know that they can get any franc from the market. And the same applies to pretty much all, with the exception of the large ones, but pretty much all the associations and cooperative structures we have in Switzerland. So most of these 600 we have, they don't know that, and this is mostly is real estate based. So they have the assets. They bought assets 50 years, 60 years ago, and do not know that these assets could be the basis for very good ideas on sustainable housing if they just want. Because the idea is there are a lot of cooperative structures, which smaller ones, which would love to be more sustainable. But the pitches always goes to the one that pays the most for the real estate itself, the plot itself, or has the best political connections. This is how the large ones get the big projects. Smaller ones are fine if they get financed, and we make sure they get. Now, this might be still probably an add-on. This might be still exactly the same bank, the local one, financing this. But eventually they talk to each other, and they talk the same language. There's the lawyer, there's Alexandra and her team behind, they provide all the underlying documentation. The bank knows what they are reading, they understand what they are reading. And we can translate that into the project managers or project team's language. And this is exactly the gap. These people don't talk the same language. It's not that it's not there, we created something new. No, we just built a connection. That's all we do.
Okay. Where are you earning your money? On the assessment side, on the finance side, both? Where are you financing yourself?
Both. I'm having my project management business, and I run a foundation, and this is where all this comes from. So I'm getting fed by this and not by Trouble Bottom Line. Trouble Bottom Line eventually needs to be cost covered.
But how do you get the costs covered in that case? Because
Well,
I mean, with your company, you invested already a 350K by now,
Right.
and you don't have a return so far, which should be then budget neutral.
Well, at some point, I hope this can be paid back. We will charge a fee. Trouble Bottom Line charges a fee for the intermediary function, like any other platform or intermediary or broker. We are far below what we see in the market, which is a good thing. And out of this, we can cover the operating cost of the organization and the repay eventually of the 350. And what remains then remains within the Triple Bottom Line project framework, the organization.
And for an external investor, what would be the ROI in that case? Because even if they would be investing, like pension funds invest into real estate these days in order to get a safe return on invest.
But this depends a lot on the project.
Okay. Right. But you don't have a frame where you say it goes from that to that.
No, we cannot tell. It really depends. We need to check the underlying idea, the underlying project. And this is, they pay, the issuer actually pays the interest. They need to tell, and we need to make sure that this makes sense. This is pretty much it. And look, if you take a real estate development in Switzerland, you might not end up with more than 1.5 or 1.75% per annum. And if so, I saw a lot of these. I still see a lot of these. It might not go through Triple Bottom Line. Most of them won't. For many, not for the big interest. Everybody should get their gain. But very often there are ideas, topics carved out which are very, very important, and some of them might cost a couple francs, and then it's probably not a double-digit interest anymore. Yeah, but to your question, every project provides their return or offers their return, and the investor is then, yeah, they can decide whether this lays within their expectations for the specific market or theme or what it is or not.
Talking about business, you said Binnenmarkt before. You're talking about domestic economies, but is it domestic Switzerland or domestic
project
Europe?
Related. Project
related. Okay.
I live in Switzerland. I care for Swiss economy, yes.
Yeah.
However, and that's exactly the point, if we have a project running in Ethiopia, I don't need the staff here, or I don't know, 100 coaches or something. This needs to be done down there. We can help, we can support, we can enable, we can whatever. But the the work itself and the gain should remain there, in best case. I mean, look, some areas or some ideas might need really an external support. Yes. And then fine, we'll get that. We have ideas on the table on, in the past on Swiss Re, I did some audits on microfinancing in India and Central Africa. Very, very interesting topic. I think with combining a couple of the projects we have and putting this into a broader context, we can, within a year, we can organize a microfinancing structure huge, like Blue Orchid or Responsibility. These are the two major impact funds we have in Switzerland. Yeah. Any more questions? Linus, do you want to add anything?
You were mentioning at some point liquidity, and investors are looking for having this kind of liquidity. I mean, once you're invested in one of your projects, if for whatever reason you want to go out again, I guess this won't be easy. If you don't have any by chance that somebody who wants to take over, no?
It depends probably on the project, because when we place the project, we have probably 2 or 3 B2B investors in one. There might have been more requests on it. Now, in the very beginning, in the start, no, we don't have a framework or a platform where we can provide an exchange, probably. But we get there. I cannot tell now how long it will take, but we'll get there.
Do you know Bolsa Social in Spain, in Spanish or in Spain? They are doing Bolsa Social, it's called. They are doing something in this direction. I guess this is something quite similar. You should check that out.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing, do you know B Corp? Have you heard about it?
It rings a bell, but
B Corporation. I mean,
yeah.
This is a certification for business, existing business.
Yeah, right.
On sustainability, and it's a 250 questionnaire
Exactly.
all over. And a lot of things are quite, I mean, probably it's very simple. First of all, the questionnaire is interesting and it's free. You can just get it online. And secondly, companies who go for this kind of things probably go exactly into your score. So it could be interesting as well. And if you want to have more, we could talk about it. I'm into B Corp. I'm certification, certification for B Corp. So,
I'm sure Oliver considered it, and this is exactly the point. All good for, well, scalable, larger projects. If you go to universities into there's acceleration programs, this is where they can, question all these 1,000 contact points or, get the link. There are a lot of projects, good ideas, which also do not need 100 million in funding. They will never be able to follow all these 100 or 1,000 questions which are asked by such a broad certification process. We see this also a lot in the real estate market. It's all good. I don't want to say anything bad about it. We in between even use this. However, most projects so far would not be able to, provide even the underlying information, because by the time they have all these questions asked, this is through. This is already, because it's not such a huge organization. Or not yet. Referring to the question you asked in the beginning, if they are all startups or new products or something. No, but yes, also. And we need to make sure that we can cluster them and bring them together in a broader appearance, because otherwise it will be only huge ones. And as I said, the domestic business is very important. And we will lose all of these if we don't get them proper funding.
Okay.
Any more questions?
So what can we do for you guys?
Well, first, I think we wanted to introduce you to what we have on the desk right now, and also give Ned and Miguel and the entire community a little bit the credit for this, because we wouldn't be sitting here with Triple Bottom Line if there wasn't GBO and the organization. So probably at some point in another, structure, but this is what we have now. And I want to give credit to GBO and the organization. There's so amazing network coming out of this. So if you want to use this in whatever term, please do so. You have the people right in your closest round. If you want to refer to this in your network, please, fine. I would be very happy, apparently. And discuss, like you just mentioned, if something crosses your mind, say, hey, this could be interesting for them, or, well, this project fails always with financing, but this is a cool thing. Let's refer them to Triple Bottom Line. Or the investors. More and more the people come up and say, you know what? Nestle, Novartis, Credit Suisse, well, maybe not anymore, and all these funds. The most which you can get into, if you go dig deeper, there's a lot of impact washing in it. Not all, but a lot. So somebody has to make a good deep dive to find out. And if we can help on this, more than happy. That's our job. That's what we do. And we love to do it. We have fun.
Thank you very much, Kai. It's a pleasure for GBO and for me personally to have contributed a bit to this. So anything we can do for you, we're here.
Thank you. Thanks for the platform. And I'm looking forward to many questions. I believe there will be a lot of questions coming up either within this network or once we launch it. And that's part of the process. We need to learn a lot in this. For now, we have something which is bulletproof. This went through all the regulatory process in Switzerland, which is a target achieved. Nice thing. So I think on this side, we are very, very safe now. And now it's just about to get it running and see where it leads us.
Thank you again, and thank you everyone for attending this meeting. Have a good day ahead, everyone.
Thank you very much. I would be very much interested in getting the presentation, Miguel.
Sure. I don't know if Kai, you want to send it to whoever requests it, or if I shall just make it available for everyone.
Probably send me quickly a note and I will provide it to you. I would not send it out, shoot it out now to the entire community. Probably not.
Right.
Might lead to misunderstanding.
Yeah. Okay. So anyone interested in it, just contact Kai and he will provide it. Okay.
Yep. Cool.
Great. Have a good day ahead and thank you again.
Thank you.
Have a great day, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.